Hey, good morning, everybody. I am here with a very special guest this morning, my beautiful, lovely wife, Susan, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about her business. So, most of you guys know that I'm a business coach, I do seminars, but you may not know that my wife is a professional baker and has her own business as well. So, she has done a lot of great things with her business. And it has been very, very successful. So I want her to tell you about it a little bit today. But before we do, Susan, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you do?
Well, my business is Sweet Kitchen, and it's a home-based bakery where I do custom orders, and I do have some things that I make available, every day, but mostly just custom orders and events,
Hmm.
things like that. I like to focus on just a few certain items.
Yeah, very sort of nichey in certain things with certain
Mhm.
items that you have, and probably your biggest thing that you do is you deliver. And instead of having people come to a location, you just deliver to them. I think that has been a big key as well. But let's dig back just a little bit before that into kind of what got you started in the baking business. I mean, when did you decide that you wanted to be a baker? Was it when you were 5 years old or maybe later on? What, tell us about that a little bit.
I don't know if I decided when I was five, but when I was close to five, I started messing around in the kitchen with anything that was sweet. My mom always made homemade desserts, cakes, cookies, even like pudding and things like that. She would always make things from scratch. And I saw this and I was always interested in it. And I love the desserts. And I just started messing around trying to make my own desserts from the time I was pretty small. And been doing it ever since. And then later on, we get busy, we get jobs, and we start doing other things. And I still love desserts, so I chose things from the grocery store that were pre-made that I love, sweets, cookies, all sorts of things like that. And someone said to me one time, you should make your own desserts. You're eating a lot of sugar that's processed and it's not good for you. You should really be making these things from scratch. So I decided to go ahead and try that because I do like to bake. And once I started doing that, I saw that the desserts were so much better. What you make from scratch is so much better than what I was buying at the store. So it was definitely more enjoyable to have dessert that I made from scratch and then giving it to other people and seeing how they enjoyed it. Once they tried it, that made me happy. So I just decided maybe I should do more of this. And I just took off from there.
That is fantastic. I think that when we met several years ago, um, you were really looking into kind of getting out of a career that you had in nursing,
Mhm.
and the baking is something you were already doing, and it just kind of made sense. It was kind of that next progression. Um, and you told me a lot of times that you'd already always dreamed of having your own baking
Mhm.
business. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that I enjoyed making these things for people. Um, Part of it was me enjoying the science of putting things together and seeing what happened. There's this
Hmm.
science involved when you cook sugar or when you add sugar and butter together and eggs and things like that. There's a reaction, a chemical reaction that causes things to happen and makes dessert. And learning things like the ingredients that you use that make a huge difference. Learning things like that over the years as I was trying different recipes and things, that made a huge difference. And um, decided that, gosh, I really love to do this full time, but I obviously I have to work. And I didn't know how to transition from having a career nursing and then moving over to just baking for people because I had never sold anything at that point. I was just baking for friends and family.
Hmm.
That's when I asked for your help.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Of course, we got married around that time too. Little backstory on that. Susan and I actually met when we were in third grade, I believe. I
Third
think
grade.
well, yeah, we were in the same classroom together and went all the way through high school. I mean, junior high, high school, and hung out with the same people, but never each other, which I thought was kind of funny. Looking back, I didn't notice it at the time, but we never, did anything together, but we had the same friends. And then probably about 20 years after we graduated, we reconnected. It might have been 22 years. It was a long time after we
Mhm.
graduated. We reconnected and getting ready to in 2025, we'll celebrate our 10th year anniversary. So very, very happy about that. But I'm equally, excited about the fact that she's taken this idea, something that she loved, and if you listen to probably the last Experts Game podcast that we had, we talked a lot about passion and how taking that desire to do good things for other people and to also make yourself happy, how important that is. And that's what Susan's done. She's taken that desire and has turned it into a good business today, a really good business. And I will say that looking from the outside, Susan is her worst critic. So being that critic that you're not going to get something that's second best. I mean, everything that she produces is top notch, and mainly because she's so adamant about making sure that it's the best that can go out of her kitchen. Let's talk about, let's switch gears just a little bit. And what do you think has made you the most successful in this business? Now, we've talked about how you've had the passion and the desire to grow it and to build it and to help other people and to get them the sweets and the things that they desire. But what is the one thing that has made it the most successful for you?
I think, well, one of the big things is having a coach that tells you, some advice on just the business part of it. Because if I didn't have people that knew how to run a business helping me, I would be giving stuff away. You know, I wouldn't be making any profit. And ultimately, while I'll enjoy what I'm doing, I do want to make money because that's how we live. And um, so it definitely helps to have someone that can mentor you. And then it also helps to have clients who you have a relationship with, who you
Mhm.
can um, talk to, outside of ordering stuff from you. You can also be friendly with, be social. And then if you find out information about people, like what they like to do, about their family, what kind of things, they're up to, you can surprise them with things. You can offer them certain things. It helps to get to know people.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And some of you guys are probably thinking, well, I'm the coach she's referring to, but I don't think that's true. I may have helped her a little bit with her business, but Susan has her own business coach. And I think your coach is a chef out of Miami. Is that correct?
Right?
Yeah. So
Definitely.
um, there's a lot of great knowledge out there. And of course, you know, I appreciate the fact that when she does ask questions, or maybe I'm able to help her with certain things, but I do the same thing with my business with her. I mean, she's kind of my coach sometimes. And of course, I have other coaches also. But I think that that idea is great. No matter what your situation is, you need a mentor, you need a coach, somebody who's kind of been there and done that, and that can help guide you through the process a little bit. The other thing you mentioned, relationships, so important in business today. And one great thing about service type businesses like you have, I mean, even though it's retail and you sell items, you're really doing a service to your customers, and you can go that extra mile and give them, extra things like, I know I run some deliveries for you from time to time, and I take an order of cookies, but yet there's other things there. Or maybe there's extra cookies in the box, and things like that. So it's just kind of going, giving the unexpected. Those are all great tips to help with a successful business. And of course, we all have to make money in order to run the business. If Susan did not make money, she wouldn't be able to provide these things later on to her customers because there wouldn't be a business. So I think there were a lot of good nuggets in what you just said there, and I hope that everybody listening can kind of pull those out. Any specific advice you might have for another startup business that might be, similar?
Um, I would agree again to have someone to mentor you to help you at least get started, and if you're looking for help with something like pricing in this type of business, you really need help with pricing. You need someone that knows how to teach you how to calculate all of your expenses and work that into your prices, and someone that helps you sort of decide what's best for you. You don't want to jump in thinking, well, I love to bake and I can bake everything, which is what started out thinking. I love all desserts, so I'll just offer all desserts, you know. You need someone to tell you, hey, you got to narrow this down. You got to narrow it down to something that you can manage and that you can work with. You can't do everything. So it's important to have someone that knows, that's been in the business. And also, I would say if you're going to have a dessert business or a bakery, I would say to do the best you can to buy the best ingredients, use the best tools that you can find to make it not only easier for yourself, but it just makes things taste better and gives you a better quality product. And you want to start out making the best quality product you can make, and you want to stick to that. And just do what you love.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I'm glad you mentioned a few things. It seems like every time you say something, it's got several different pieces I can pull out of there. Let's start with pricing. You know, one of the things that I've noticed in businesses where people make things on their own, like craft businesses, bakery businesses, things that people are making items for someone else. Whenever you have someone who has a desire and a passion for that product, they always underprice. They always um charge want to charge less for what their value is, for what their worth is. And I think that's super important that you don't do that in business. And that's where you probably need an outside person, a mentor, that coach. The other thing about using the best ingredients and the best tools, I find that hard sometimes, or maybe earlier on in my businesses, I always wanted to, well, let's just do what we can. This is the cheapest. Let's just go with that. And that's not always the best policy sometimes. Um, the best policy in baking is definitely using the best ingredients. And yes, they may cost a little bit more, but the quality of your work, what the customer is going to receive, is going to be so much greater than just average. And who wants to be average in business? You know,
Mhm.
your customers don't want you to be average. Your customers want you to be excellent and great
Right.
and legendary, and stuff. So anyway, I appreciate this conversation today, Susan. Thank you so much. Anything else that you would like to leave the audience with? Any other tips that you can think of? You've said a lot today, so that's been great.
I would just say invest in the invest in yourself and in the training that'll help you get ahead. You know, there's people out there that can help you, and you definitely need to take a chance on yourself, have faith, and just do it. If it's something you feel like you want to do, just jump in there and go for it.
Yep.
Put all your passion in it. Put
Yeah.
everything you got.
Nike's made billions with that slogan. Just do it.
Do
That's what you got to do.
it.
That's what you got to do. We talk about that a lot in our household,
Mhm.
and it's very, very important. I'll just kind of give a little backstory that, when Susan wanted to start this bakery, we had looked at a lot of the numbers. What would she be leaving from her career? And there were a lot of uncertainty there as well. But had we not, had she not taken that chance, and had we not decided that this was the best thing, we'd be asking ourselves those questions today.
Mhm.
And if you're in that position, I'm sure no matter how old you are, you probably can look back and say, if I'd done this earlier, if I'd made the decision, and it's not time to second guess yourself. We only live for so long, so you might as well do what you enjoy and what you love.
It's scary to
And
quit a salaried job,
yeah,
where you count on that. But if you're going to do that, you better jump into the next thing and just do
yeah.
your very best and make it the best you can. Mm.
And you don't see it at the time, but I would tell you that, the older you get, and when you get towards, later on, maybe closer to the end of your life, it's equally as scary to go back and think what could have been.
Hmm.
What would have happened if I'd have done that? And it's so much easier just doing it. And um, that's not to
Yeah.
say that all businesses are going to succeed.
Right.
I mean, they definitely don't. I mean, there's a lot of my friends, and I can say for myself, there's a lot of businesses I've done that didn't succeed. But you just have to keep trying. When you fall down, you get back up.
Right. And things
And
happen. Like, we had a pandemic where everything closed down. You got to just figure out a way to make that work and
yeah.
set different goals for yourself. I'm definitely increasing the goals for myself for the rest of the year.
Hmm.
Try to make something bigger happen here.
Yeah. Well, I'm super proud of you, and I'm excited that you actually came on today to do this. I know we've been talking about it for a little while, and I knew that it would be really good for the audience to hear from you and to hear things that you had to say. So I appreciate it. I love you. I
I
think
appreciate
that
you too.
this is this is fantastic to have you here, and we'll maybe get you back on again. Does that sound good?
Sure. Anytime.
Maybe. I might have to do a few extra things around the house just to kind of to make it work. But I don't know if you can tell by Susan's voice and by her actions, but she's not so much, a person that wants to get behind the camera that much. But I appreciate her getting out of her comfort zone today and doing this. So thank you so much. I really appreciate
You're
you.
welcome. I'm happy to do it.
Okay. Well, guys, I'll put some of her information below. If you're in the Charlotte, Gastonia, Hickory, North Carolina areas, reach out to Susan at Sweet Kitchen. All of her information will be below, along with ways to contact her and stuff like that. So I appreciate you being here, and until next time, make the most of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.